I know why you're silent. It's not because you have nothing to say, but because your heart is filled with emotions that words can't quite capture. The silence speaks louder than any words could ever express. When you're not talking, it's as if your thoughts are swirling around in your mind, a storm that can't be put into words. But even in silence, there's so much being said, so much you're holding back. Silence is not always a sign of anger or bitterness. Sometimes it's the mind's way of processing all the emotions that words can't articulate. I understand, even when you don't speak. I know why you're quiet. Sometimes words can't capture the depth of what we're feeling, so we choose silence as a way to protect ourselves from saying something we'll regret or something we can't fully explain. The quiet moments are often the ones where our minds are the loudest, grappling with thoughts and feelings that seem impossible to express. I can see you're lost in them, even if you don't say a word. You are not talking because sometimes the heart speaks in a language that the mind struggles to understand. You're still trying to make sense of it all, trying to find the words that will give voice to what you feel. I know why you're not talking. You're holding on to your feelings, unsure of how to release them without overwhelming anyone. It's not that you don't want to share, it's that you're not sure how to explain what you're going through. In silence, there's a story unfolding, a narrative made up of your unspoken thoughts and emotions. I see the way your mind is racing, trying to make sense of it all, even when you can't find the right words. Your silence isn't a sign of indifference. It's the weight of your emotions that makes it hard to speak. It's the fear of being misunderstood, the hesitation to share your most vulnerable self. Sometimes, silence is not about not having something to say. It's about trying to protect yourself from the intensity of your feelings. It's the space where you're working through everything silently, hoping for clarity. I know you're not talking, but I can see it in your eyes. The way they flicker with thoughts you're too afraid to voice. The way your body language shifts when you're lost in your head. You're not saying it, but I understand. When you don't speak, it's not because you've stopped caring. It's because there's so much inside that you can't seem to express. The thoughts and feelings are too big, too complex for words to capture. Sometimes, silence isn't about what's wrong. It's about the need for introspection. The mind is processing, the heart is healing, and the soul is searching for answers in the quiet spaces. I know why you're not talking. The thoughts inside your head are tangled, making it difficult to find the right words. It's not that you're shutting down, you're just trying to make sense of your own emotions. Your silence speaks volumes, but not in the way most people think. It's not about avoidance. It's about dealing with complex emotions and finding a way to understand them before sharing them with others. The quiet between us isn't a sign of distance. It's the space where we're each reflecting, processing our emotions, and giving ourselves the time to understand what we're feeling before sharing it with the world. You don't speak because you're trying to protect your own heart. The fear of saying too much, of revealing too much, keeps you silent. But I see the truth in your silence. In the silence between us, I can hear your heart. It's not saying much, but its rhythm speaks louder than words ever could. You're waiting for the right moment, waiting to figure out how to express what you're feeling. You are not talking because there are so many feelings trapped inside, like an ocean of emotion you can't bring to shore. You're still navigating through them, trying to understand your own heart. Sometimes you remain silent because your thoughts are too deep to explain and your feelings too intense to put into words. But in that silence, I hear everything you're too afraid to say. Your silence isn't about shutting out the world. It's about trying to make sense of everything going on inside. Your heart is heavy with emotions, and your mind is searching for the right way to express them. When you're not talking, it's not that you don't care, it's that you care too much. The weight of your emotions is holding you back, and you're trying to find the courage to share them. You may not be speaking, but your presence says everything. The way you carry yourself, the way your eyes flicker, it all tells a story of a mind in turmoil, a heart that's trying to make sense of what's going on inside. I know you're not talking because you're trying to protect yourself. Sometimes the fear of vulnerability outweighs the need to be understood, so silence becomes your shield.